Hello, yeah, I've decided to do something a bit new, and that's going to be, because I'm a sufferer of dyslexia and, dyspraxia, which is a very similar condition. I'm going to start doing, tips and tricks and, symptoms and what to look for in that sort of thing, to try and help people with similar conditions. I just thought I'd start off with probably doing the memory of dyslexics, dyspraxics and other similar conditions can be affected slightly. Can either be shortened or the amount of what they can store can be shorter or less than most people's. A good way to test for that before you go and have yourself or your child or whoever tested properly is if you send them off for a specific thing, like, I don't know, like a multiple of specific things, like, I don't know, your purple shirt, your pink slippers, your red tie, I don't know why you have those three items, I don't know, but there you go. Just an example. If they come down with like one or two of them, there's a high chance of that person having dyslexia or dyspraxia or a similar condition. There are other ways to test for that for yourself, like you could read through a book and try and test them or something on, read through the book with them and test them on some of the characters or developments or something like that. That's a pretty decent way to check. But the items is probably better in general. Yeah, that's one of the things that my mother used to do with me to test if I'd got it personally. Like before she had me tested officially. Yeah. Another thing that I would like to bring up is the fact that there's a lot of stigma and a lot of stereotype around dyslexics and dyspraxics. People automatically assume dyslexics, dyspraxics, and some other similar conditions can't read as well or can't spell as well. That is sometimes the case, but with a relatively large amount of people, to what I know anyway, have either, I myself call it either a good day or a bad day with dyslexia or dyspraxia, and it's a lot more there, it's a lot more I can't think of the word, but it's a lot more prominent. That's what I was looking for. And if it's a particularly bad day, it's harder for me personally to think of spellings of like relatively simple words, or get different words mixed up. Like if it's a particularly bad day with dyslexia or my dyspraxia, then I sometimes get the wrong spelling of which which is you know, and sometimes the wrong there happens if it's a particularly bad day, but usually I'm fine. Like, it's usually just simple words as well, it's not the like complex ones. The complex ones you can get relatively close to at least, which is weird, but one of them things. Yeah. Another thing that I'd like to discuss, well, talk to you guys about, is like the stigma and stereotype as well. Oh, and before I mention that, sorry, the reading doesn't personally affect me, but it does affect some dyslexics, dyspraxics, and some of the similar conditions, which I'm not going to get into because there's, well, I might in another episode, because there's various ones. If I do another episode, it depends on the receival of this one. But yeah, with the reading, good way to help with that is if you have them read out aloud to you, like have them read a story to you if they're a child. I'm not aware of any better ways to do it. If say you're a teacher and you're not sure whether or not a child has dyslexia or dyspraxia, unless if you're in a secondary school and you're in a teach a relatively high set or stream or whatever your school calls it, try not to get that child to read out, because if they're having a particularly, or try and establish a signal, if they know that they have dyslexia or dyspraxia, try and establish a signal between you and them for them to notify you that they're having a bad day with it, because they may stumble up on some of the words and that will get them embarrassed and frustrated at themselves, which will make them stumble on more words, and it's a vicious cycle. But personally, I've only had a day with my dyspraxia bad enough for that to happen, just once, that I can remember. But a good way to deal with the reading is just to read more, especially if it's something that, like, if you can find an author that you like, or a particular writing style that you like. My personal favourite is probably either Roald Dahl or Edgar Allan Poe or Stephen King. I quite like those three. Shakespeare does not make any sense in my mind. I don't know if that's just me or a dyspraxic thing in general. But with the dyspraxics I've asked, dyslexics and dyspraxics I've asked, they've also found it a bit more awkward to read Shakespeare than any other author. So yeah, bear that in mind. But Roald Dahl is a good book for dyslexic. Well, good author for dyslexics, dyspraxics to get into at a young age, and when they feel they've outgrown Roald Dahl, he does do older books, but most of that is adult. Stephen King is probably the best transitional period, or maybe J.K. Rowling, but you have to be a bit careful with J.K. in a dyslexic, dyspraxic viewpoint, anyway. But yeah, just read more, and if it's your child or your friend's child or whatever, make sure that there's someone there, like, reading it along with them, like, to make sure, well, if they're young, to make sure that they're, not reading it wrong, because that can get embedded quite easily. So yeah, I'm going to do at least one more of these. If you found this useful at all, click on the like button, share it, whatever. I'd like for more people to be aware of stuff like dyslexia, dyspraxia, and ways to help it. A good tip with everything in general, not just dyslexia, dyspraxia, is just to try and catch it early, because it can be helped. It can maybe even be solved. Like, every problem that it can come across can be solved. So yeah, I hope you found this useful. Like and share if you did. If you didn't, fair enough. I'm not going to hold it against you. But yeah, okay. Peace.